Hey guys, this is Rainwolf from Convention Video with SAO War of the Underworld.
Hey guys, Kirido Silverheart here. Happy to be back talking Code 871.
And this is Asana Silverheart. I'm glad to be back as well.
And this is Lyria Highwind, and I'm glad to be back as well.
So they start this back off with Hyga at gunpoint with Mr. Yanai. We find out quite a bit about Mr. Higa throughout this episode, but just this section. Tentacle monsters, anybody?
Yeah.
Oh.
Seeing that scene all over again from ALO, that
So
brings back
traumatic.
some horrid nightmares.
So traumatic. And I think it was like this episode, the beginning scene of this episode set up the feel for the rest of the episode.
Oh, it
was
did.
like it started with a bullet. Like legitimately it started with a bullet.
Yeah, in Mr.
And-
Higai's shoulder.
Yeah, and it was just a swinging bag of cats full of crazy after that. Like it was like traumatic and emotional and crazy. Like so
That he
much.
worked for Mr. Shugo, that crazy statistic.
Captain Rapey Douche. Oh my god. So this episode proved to me that it doesn't matter where you are in the series, everything before it fucking matters.
It does. Yeah.
Every little nuance.
This is the gathering point of everything else that's happened before this. This is all, it's pivotal, it's coming to the head. And this episode, as hard as because I felt like it was not necessarily hard to watch, it was very draining emotionally to watch. It's very important because not only do we get a lot of information about everyone's demented plots and plans and things that have happened before, but also it's setting up for what's about to happen next, and it's about to be big. So stuff's about to blow up here very soon. Hopefully in a good way. There's still some bad to come, I'm sure, but they're in a good way. Things are going to start to take a turn.
All right, let's move on before we end up going, because there is another scene that deals with Hyga, but I should go in order of this episode.
So next up would be Sinon and Gabriel.
Yes. And why the fuck does he have the power of Vecta?
See, thank you. This is what I was getting at last episode, is just how much power does this guy have? Because in my honest opinion, he's OP as fuck.
Yeah, it's not fair that he has his avatar from GGO plus the power of Vecta. But how much of Vecta is the question? This creepy
It's like they've made this weird hybrid super character for him. And I'm like, no one else, the people who created the game couldn't make these super crazy hybrid characters. How can some hacker dude on his laptop in a different area of the, ship make this
monster?
And yeah, it is a monster. And which, I mean, I do like the part with Shinon, which we'll get to that in a second, but where she says, you're not a devil, you're a human, you're not this, you're not that, you're a human. She was like, and pretty much she was going to take him out. But he was so disgusting. Like him touching her just revolted me. I wanted cringe.
I just wanted to take a spear and just check it from wherever the fuck I was on the map. It's like, hi, motherfucker.
I figured you and Lyria would be having a problem where your waifu was being molested by Creeper
McCreeperson.
But yeah, he just like draws her in, like it's just like she was powerless for a moment.
Yeah,
like
and the words going through her head that whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Like just her entire scene of just the way she was reacting was just so like heart-wrenching.
In other words, she was pretty much in danger.
Mm-hmm.
She was about to be excessively violated in one way or another.
Yeah, and then that necklace that she's wearing
that she didn't even realize was there. Like I honestly didn't notice it myself in the character design.
I didn't either, and with it being something from the real world, by the way they explain that necklace, what is it?
Okay, so that little circle, the pendant that was on her necklace, that was the monitor tab that Kirito was still wearing on his chest, his physical chest, when he saved Shinon from her attacking her apartment.
Oh, that's right.
After the death gun incident.
And it makes sense
when he got
he
got hit in the chest with the injector, it just left a wet spot on his shirt. She pulled up his shirt and saw that he was still wearing one of the nodes from being hooked up on the the table, the equipment at the hospital that he was signing in from, where they could keep a monitor on him. So right there, that was something that protected Kirito when he saved her. And then all of a sudden, this item just manifests itself with unholy power.
Yeah, to block.
Yeah, and saves her.
And then now we've got her most precious 50 caliber weapon.
Hecate!
Yes.
I saw that scene in the preseason startup trailer that they released, that she pulls out her bow and it turns into Hecate. And I was like, good God, I cannot wait for this moment. And it was even better than I could have imagined.
Oh, yes. Then he pulls out that little, I don't even know what gun that is, actually.
He pulls out a sidearm and all of a sudden it turns into like
it's like a crossbow type pistol into
a miniature assault rifle.
Then after all that, pretty much a GGO fight's about to go down in the Underworld.
Yeah.
Now we go over to Rue and Sakura, I think that's her name, the elf.
Sakuya. Yeah, Sakuya.
They're about to lay some hurt. And then the whole situation with Rue.
Yeah, Rue goes down. Sakuya freaks out, panics, starts to go after her, and she's ripping through red players.
Yeah, she's a beast.
Through red players. And the minute she's distracted, she takes it to the side. Or no, to the back. She takes one in the back.
Or right at the waist, really.
She looks, she's distracted for a second and it's over. And I mean, they're outnumbered. It's just to the simple point that they're outnumbered at this point. They're overwhelmed. They're outnumbered. You know, they're trying to protect people of the underworld, but they're also trying to survive themselves through the game. And because it's like they will lose their character. And then you can't you'll come back as a level 1.
Yeah, you're losing your character, and then everybody else is actually losing their life.
Yeah, and then the people of the Underworld, and that's the thing that, and that comes up very shortly too. Asuna brings that up. But like they're, so it's like they'll lose their character, and then they'll start back at level 1, then they're no stronger than these Red Paladin. And in fact, they're less numbered because they're already outmanned.
Yep.
So
then we have
Shione
telling the others to give her a minute. Them going apeshit with, pretty much the Secret Nation attack of their most powerful moves.
And
then trying to talk to this Red Knight on getting the truth, telling them the truth. She pretty much just walks up, one hands the blade.
Which was amazing. Shione was one of my favorite characters from the Mother's Rosario arc. She was one of my favorite characters, and to see her just have a teetotal badass moment of, I'm grabbing this blade and you're gonna fucking look me in the face and you're gonna listen to what I have to say for a minute.
Yes. Like, I'm not having any of your shit.
And it started, and then Moonface came, steps forward, and it's like, yeah, that makes sense. What she's saying makes sense. And for a moment, it looked like they were getting some people on their side. And then Moonface's friend, May, comes up, and she's also, she's like, yeah, I agree with you. There's something off. There's something wrong. And
then Poe starts in on his shit.
Yeah, Foe's interruption when she's telling the truth to Moonface and May.
Yeah, and the thing is, I think the thing that they're trying to convey here is that everybody wants to be a hero. Everybody in their mind thinks they're the hero. So these, the Red Knights think that, they're like, oh, we're here protecting this place. These are hackers. These guys are jerks. Oh, well, they have better equipment and they're better this and that than you. And of course they cheated. And everybody wants to, that. Everyone wants to be the hero. Everyone thinks they're the hero in their own story. And of course they're going to think, yeah, that's the only way they could have got all this thing, not that.
And who would in their right mind transfer over a character they've worked years on over into a game that the possibility of not even getting their characters back?
Yeah, a test.
Yeah, anyone who's ever done either game design or has gotten their hands on a beta test of anything knows that any character that you develop or level or port into a beta system has a chance of data corruption, complete total loss, everything. I mean, if one numeral in that code goes wrong,
one numeral
everything
in the
is
right
gone.
Place.
Yeah, I mean, everything can be gone.
And really, they don't have the time at that particular moment, nor would anyone necessarily believe them. Well, the reason we did all this, and start the long story of why they did all this, that's going to be another issue there. Right now, they just need them to believe them, and they don't want to.
Yeah, it's a great show that a singular voice of reason is drowned out in a sea of madness. And then Shione takes a freaking dagger to the shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that was sad. That was hard.
And then it transitions over to the crazy couple.
Shada Synthesis 12 and Iskon. I am loving them more and more every time I see them. I really am.
I am. And I just love the situation. It's like not even that long as switching over. You have Leafa falling from the sky and ripping some shit.
Again, another badass character with a badass entrance.
And then you got Lupin.
Lil Pillin and his
I really
entire
like him
squad.
too. Yeah, I like him. And I think, he's like, oh yeah, we're gonna stay and we're gonna help you. And she's just like, I got this.
Yeah, I got this.
I got this. This is every Tuesday. I do this all the time.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
one thing I was waiting for, just to make it a very even more funny moment, was I got this. Dust this shoulder. Let's go.
Oh, that
Yeah.
would have been great.
Isn't it always like we make the joke that Lyria is Lyria's Leafa in a weird way? And I don't know. Something we used to joke about, like Lyria's Leafa in an odd way. Lyria doesn't like that comparison, but yeah.
But no, it's interesting to see Leafa in this type of situation because she's self-confident. She understands that she can do this. But the thing is Leafa doesn't, I don't feel, have the understanding of the limitations of her power.
Yeah, I
I'm
agree.
afraid Leafa's going to push herself too far.
Yeah, because, Asuna was on the raft. Asuna was told, when you log in, you have this divine character, you have these
And
limitations.
and she pushed herself to a limit where it almost killed her, or ended their
Athena
character.
did much worse because with her ability is kind of OP in general.
Right.
So with her and and they even told her the strain that ability will put on her.
Mm-hmm.
You got to think Leafa, as of right now, has not been abusing or using her goddess ability at all, besides of when she got attacked by the witch.
And I don't even honestly think that was her using the ability. I think that was a self-preservation ability.
So Leafa is going to be able to hold out much longer than Asuna because she, as of right now, unless she starts going into the points where she's drastically abusing her abilities, or she might end up like Shinon, where she has that flight ability and can use it to whatever extent she wants with no penalty.
Yeah.
That might be what Leafa's healing ability is like. If that's the case, they're all fucked.
Yeah. I mean, if Leafa can continuously keep herself rejuvenated and healed, and Shinon can fly, well, but then that also raises another question. If they have a permanent 100% use it anytime you need to ability, what's Asuna's? We'd love to see that.
But she is the goddess of creation. That puts a giant effect on the world itself.
True.
So I can see why the strain would be there as a counter effect.
That is true. Yeah. But it's also a great moment because not only is Leafa confident and willing and determined to be the one to stand ground, it shows her, again, her humanity like it did when she first came into the underworld of, no, guys, you don't need to sacrifice yourselves anymore. That's why I'm here. I'm here to help. I'm here to protect you. You've done what you can. Let me do my part.
Now we jump over to the gunfire and the robot. Decoy?
Yeah, the decoy is actually a brilliant idea. It's actually working out a lot better than I thought it was going to because they've added in the gimmick of using the smoke grenades. So they have no idea what they're even shooting at.
Yeah, they've used all their smoke grenades to fill the hallway, and
It's gonna take some time. But then now they figure. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was like, they've bought themselves some time, but yeah, there's a lot going on now. We find out a lot of stuff that they're gonna need that time.
And then now they figure out this other limit-breaking flux light. Who could this be?
Okay, so I have a thought about this. If you notice, they said that it was another limit-breaking flux light who was approaching the front of the American players. The flux light that we've seen who was attacking a full assault of American players is Lapillin. He broke the 871. So now he is not a restricted flux light AI.
But it's one character. Leafa would have shown up with them on the radar, so it can't be him.
I honestly still kind of feel it could be him because he came up as an anomaly. Yeah. Those limit break flux lights, like Alice, are anomalies.
And we talked about that. They're the ones that have broken the code that's in their eye.
Broken the code. Well, if that was the case, there would be 4 of them because you have the Pugless.
Okay, so Eastcon is there, yeah.
Then you have the Orc.
Little Pillin. Mm-hmm.
Yep. But with them, this only being the second limit breaking
And then
flux light.
Alice had it, so
And saying there's only supposed to be one, and that's Alice. So the only person I can think of that would have dire enough situations that would probably cause something like this would be an Ugio moment. Because he is the only other one that has gone through the stress and then also the situation with the administrator that would probably cause him to become a Fluxlight similar to Alice.
I always had the feeling though that he merged with Kirito. Like there's a part of me, hear me out, where I feel like when everything happened and he died, essentially his Fluxlight merged with Kirito. Like that's it's almost in a way like I feel like that's almost part of what's keeping Kirito alive is that Yu-Gi-Oh merged with him because he the sword and everything. There's a part of me that almost feels like they're kind of two halves of the whole, and there's a lot of things in imagery and stuff, especially if you watch it like in the openings and closing.
Yeah.
There's a yin yang kind of feel to them.
And Yu-Gi-Oh has always felt kind of like the opposite of Kirito in some way.
Yeah, in an odd way, he's the bright, happy, shy, whereas Kirito's kind of a pessimist. Kirito's has a much darker past than Yu-Gi-Oh did too. Yu-Gi-Oh was it's like Kirito has had to do some awful things, and they bring that up too later here shortly. He's had to do some awful things to save people that he cares about. So it's like Yu-Gi-Oh has later he had to, but he didn't necessarily. That's not how he came in, and that's not how it always started with him. So it's kind of like they always felt like the two halves of the whole, but there's a part of me that felt like his Fluxlight merged with him. I could be wrong, and it could very much be Yu-Gi-Oh.
I can see that.
But that's something, or it could be the manifestation of the Yu-Gi-Oh Kirito bond that's starting to come up and is about to awaken Kirito.
Oh, because if they're going to the humans in the south, what about Synthesis 2?
Possibly.
Because we have not seen anything from her of late.
Seen her.
She knows that...
She knows Broccoli's dead. She knows she's pregnant.
Yeah. Could that cause the chain of effects to cause someone to become a limit-breaking Fluxlight? Because
what if it's her child?
Oh.
What if she's carrying it? And that's why it's just now ping, like it's starting to get stronger and they realize that's it.
Yeah, that's not, because that could be a possibility because there's no guaranteed information on what causes somebody to become a limited breaking Fluxlight.
I mean, I do think it's important though. Yeah, they did bring up the code, the 871 code.
And we're about to find out about. And we actually find out exactly what that is.
And the fact that it was not pre-programmed into the system.
Mm-hmm. It was made by Mr. Yanai.
And it actually spells out his name.
What a coincidence.
Yeah. You're right.
That because of the administrator. He put it on the people as a control for the administrator.
He became corrupted by the administrator herself.
Yeah,
he was already working for Lord Crazy Pants. So, I mean, are we really surprised that this douchey doctor is going to also work for the administrator?
Yeah, Yanai
and it also shows the reach of the administrator to me. Like, the fact that she's like...
That she was able to tap into a line that fed into where they're at in the real world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, found every command, which, I mean, we already knew that she was altering commands and everything.
That he wants the death of Kirito because he's the one that killed the administrator.
My precious adme.
Pretty much wanting to become the number one servant for the so-called administrator, but she's a dead, crazy bitch.
Yeah.
That fills in a whole bunch of... It definitely gives Yanai much more of a background now on where things have come to.
Yeah, over the course of one episode, we have learned everything we need to know about how much we should hate this son of a bitch.
It was. Like, it came out of, like, nowhere, but then it didn't come out of nowhere. It's like, oh, okay. It makes sense now.
Yeah, Sogu's head researcher of the human experimentation back in the ALO project when Asuna was captured. He was the NSA informant. He was leaking information to the NSA in America, in hopes of getting transferred to America and getting a really, really good job and getting really well paid.
A high position.
Yeah. And then all that ambition driven even further by the fact of here's this super intelligent AI that to a degree almost surpasses Alice at that point.
Yep.
And goes in and manipulates the entire construct of the Underworld's reality system, communicates with Mr. Yanai directly through the console that she was able to develop herself, and like mind fucks him into, oh yeah, I need you to help me control the rest of the population, and when you do, I'll make you my number one.
And even if it did happen, I doubt that would have been true.
Yeah. Like I'm looking at
No, she
I'm looking
played
at him like
She
you're
did.
just one sick crazy SOB.
Yeah, and I mean, and up to this point, I really like last episode. I just assumed I was like, they've probably threatened this poor man's family. You know, I almost kind
Yeah.
of felt bad for him in a way. I was like, they probably said they were kill his kids or something, and he's had to turn because they, you know, thinking surely
were
there's not
rooting for
all
him.
these crazy people. Like, yeah, apparently video games like make you nutty.
This series has gone.
But like,
There's been so much storytelling this series.
Well,
there
this,
has been,
I mean,
and
like,
it filled in some gaps, and I think that's good. I don't know if it's necessarily like maybe they're making it too smooth and filling in too much, but also I think it's necessary.
but to the point, SAO overall has done a really good job of making the bad guys really, really fucking bad.
Mhm.
You know, Kayaba traps millions of players into a death scenario. Soga kidnaps players who were trying to get out of the SAO situation and starts doing human experimentations on their brains and their memories, and was a rapist free. And now you got Yanai, who is a turncoat, a psychopath, working for another sick sadistic son of a bitch. I mean, it's just like everyone who is supposed to be evil in this game is just in this show is so evil, like
Yeah.
almost over the top evil.
It's almost like, yeah, they've almost merged like they legitimately took every last evil asshole from all the other series seasons, and they've merged them into one. It's like they've all come together. Do you hate Kirito? I do as well. Let's all go.
Let's all
to
gang
the-
up on them.
to the evil secret meeting point, and like all Sinister Six of us will form an alliance to destroy this SOB. Like, like that's what's happened. It feels like it. It's awful, like, but it's good. Does
is.
that make sense? Like, it's interesting.
And now we jump back to the battle where everything has really even got worse since we last skipped over to them after had that whole discussion that they were lying when they were trying to tell the truth.
Yeah, the red troops rally back up and start wiping player after player after player. I mean, you see Agil laying on the ground with a chest full of arrows.
That dude, he's a tough because he should be dead with that many
Yeah,
arrows.
yeah. Tell me about it.
I thought he was, and she's just like, "Hang on, we'll get you help."
If he was dead, he'd be already pixelated and not standing there.
That's what I was thinking too. I was like, "Oh no,
You know,
he's
Klein's
gone.
Klein's
He's
got
gonna
some
disappear
cuts
any
across
moment."
his arms and face
He's not
and
in,
body and stuff.
he's not in as bad shape as Agneil.
Agil's got fucking arrows sticking out of his chest.
The bad part is
Yeah.
the part we probably didn't see was he took one arrow, killed the guy, took another arrow, killed the guy.
Oh,
like,
he probably
He
really
did.
pushed
More than
through
likely,
And you
he
know,
took a
I
few-
wish I'd
dudes
seen that.
before it got him.
He took a few with him.
Yeah.
We know he did. Too
Yeah,
bad we didn't get to see it,
Agil's
though.
just 2BA.
That dude carries a battle axe for
Yeah.
fuck's sake.
But
And then we
yeah.
got the scene where Asuna goes to hug Liz and the doubts that come across her face.
Yeah, Liz, who is the one who was the voice to pull everybody from Japan into this situation. And she's just like, this is all my fault. Everyone's dying because I fucking brought them here.
Then we have Asuna dropping her blade, and then the shout to stop the Red's attack, and then he just punches her instead.
She knows, like, these people are losing their lives. She knows the people in the underworld are dying. She knows that they're at a loss. She
Mhm.
knows, and she's Austin has always been empathetic. I think that's the thing.
Mhm.
I know some people will think, oh, that shows she's weak. It's not that she's weak. It's that she knows they're outnumbered. She knows that not only, pretty soon everyone else's characters are going to be gone, and these people in the underworld are going to be defenseless. And she knows there's no hope there at that point. So she's trying to preserve
Well, and
what
also
they
the
have.
rule that followed her and also the rest of the SAO survivors that were part of the front line since the beginning, their number one rule was to survive. So that's why
To survive and to protect those who cannot protect themselves.
Yes.
and then so with the one underworlder, the one in purple
Oh, Kirito's
mentor,
mentor, yeah.
that she says to keep on fighting, and as soon as like, no, we know when it's been time. Then with Poe calling Asuna by her nickname.
Lightning flash.
Oh gosh.
And again, we go back to
I
the
wish
over the
Klein would have
top.
just came up behind him and just
Yeah.
Right.
Klein and
Yeah.
Agnew. Come on.
Yep.
Agnew coming up with arrows stuck in his chest.
I'm gonna take the back end of these and shove them through you.
I think this was really important, though. I think that was a really
It was.
important scene.
And we found out really how much piece of trash.
Again, we go back to the over eviling of these bad guys.
On how much of a piece of trash Poe actually is.
He did.
He sacrificed laughing, coughing for his enjoyment.
Yeah. He killed his own people, but it should have been known. I mean, I think that's one of those things where if they're going to kill other people, you know,
They're going to kill each other.
The PKing, he's going to eventually get bored with that. He's sick in his head, and he's like, so there comes a point where it's like, I have no friends. These people aren't my friends. There's no. I think I saw it more with him than any of the others. I think I totally saw it with him. He was very unconcerned. This has always been a game to him, no matter the stakes, no matter the cost of it, and he has no alliances. He's scum.
Well, the thing is, the assault team didn't really kill anyone. They arrested everybody, but he brought the moment where Kirito actually had to make a choice to let a member of the assault team die or to kill the two that were attacking.
Yeah, see, that's where I was going to go with this. Is yes, everything that Austin just said is perfectly and totally correct. But it gets even worse because in his twisted head, not only is he just a sick son of a bitch who likes watching people get killed and killing people, but then he tries to defend that want and desire with a moral high ground of, you guys think you're the heroes. You guys don't like to get your hands dirty. You guys like to try and boss other people around and tell us how to live and how to play. Fuck you. He's like, I'm going to put you in a situation where you have to become us.
Yeah, he has that odd, like almost like sadistic Joker mentality.
It's worse than the Joker.
It really is. Like,
Joker would sacrifice his lackeys, but not to this degree.
It almost strikes me as like if the Punisher wasn't an anti-hero, if the Punisher was like truly a bad guy. Here, make this decision and that decision, like, because there was either
the Punisher or if the Green Arrow was actually a villain because he's smart as fuck and dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like this guy's not smart. He's not smart.
Yeah.
That's his one downfall. And you see that earlier. He is not as intelligent as he thinks he is. He's mansplaining morality to her. Like, he legitly mansplained morality to Asuna. And I was like, fuck you.
Yeah.
He uses his smarts in a very evil and wrong way.
He thinks himself a Lex Luthor in a way.
And then if he brings up the point of, if he really does regret killing those two from laughing coughing, would he still dive into the VR world?
Yeah. See, that's him being an asshole. Like, he's mansplaining morality. Like,
the way Kirito is, I don't see he regrets it, but he loves that world a little too much. And he's worked on he's even done things to develop, and even we saw it during the Mother Rosario arc when he was creating that thing originally for Yui, but he used it for Yuki so she could see the world itself.
To a degree, I almost think that Kirito could have walked away from the VR world, at least for a while.
He could have.
I think he could have. I think what brought him back was the capture of Asuna.
Yes.
And the fact that she wouldn't come out of the coma, and then he had this whole situation that we dealt with the beginning of ALO.
There was a situation that pulled him back sooner than if he was going through if it was to be a normal healing process without Asuna involved, he probably would have fully stepped away, or he would have gone down. He would have come back at some point, but he may or may not be as invested as he is now.
Yeah. So if you're an outside observer like Poe is in this situation, then you see, oh, he did all this shit in SAO, and then all of a sudden he's right back into another situation. He's right back into another VR MMO, and then he's into another VR MMO, and now he's here. It's like, he doesn't want to give this up. He's just as fucked up as I am.
In the very closing of this episode, after the credits, I don't know if anybody else...
I watched, yeah.
I did, and...
I am in the three letters on the outside of the box. SAO.
What could
this be?
Okay, so again, I have theories.
I think a number of us do.
And actually, as we were discussing earlier with the limit breaking Fluctlight, another theory kind of came to mind. Could it possibly be the cardinal system?
Are you talking about the original Cardinals before it became what it is, what we were introduced to?
Right. But what I'm thinking of is the cardinal system, because if you think back to the beginning of Alicization, you had administrator and then you had cardinal. They were dichotomies of each other, basically. So could it be some kind of a remanifestation of her? Being brought back in through the World Seed connection from the original cardinal programming of the SAO systems. Could this be another, we're going to have a divine almighty power of Kayaba interjecting himself again?
Is this a project that Kirito might have been working on? Because he's been working on a number of projects, and he's been pretty quiet on a lot of things he's been doing over the years.
See, that's what I'm wondering. Like, you see this thing boots up. Now, did it, unless it's sentient suddenly, which is terrifying in itself, someone has booted this up. Someone, somewhere, or something has
Yui.
caused this thing.
I was going to say, given the fact that it's SAO on
where
that
she
machine,
originated from.
I have two possibilities. Yui is a high contender, and Rika, or whatever her name was, the chick that brought Asuna to the raft, the one that is in the sub-control room with Kirito's employer monitoring this whole situation.
I mean, there's a possibility, but like,
then again, we don't even know where this thing is actually located. It could be
Yeah,
on
all
the
you
ship.
can
It could
see-
be on land. It could be.
there's a bunch of storage. I'm legitimately staring at the screen right now. There's a bunch of storage crate. Looks like maybe some tubing, medical supplies, or something. I don't know what it is, or
Well,
electronic tubing.
so it's going to be a place
just
that's
in some
was
dark
originally-
cave somewhere. It's like,
And
it's it
do
could be in the bow of the ship. It could be or the island, whatever you want to call the raft. It could be in a storage room somewhere in the bottom of some office building. We don't know.
Well, with what Asuna is currently describing, I have another thought. When Hyga dropped his laptop right before he was shot, did he trigger the program? Is the SAO thing that we're seeing the Fluctlight Bay that Kirito is in?
Ooh.
And it's fucking coming online
That would be amazing.
with the other three signals.
And there's a possibility of that because you left out the most important part of the, right before this scene was when they bring Kirito out to Poe. Like, they bring him down the steps and Asuna's like, sitting there. She's like, anything but that. Don't touch him. Don't hurt him. He's there suddenly. You know how he responds to people he knows.
Something's about to go down.
How does he respond to people he hates? The second that
this is the person he hates with one of the few people in the world that he hates with a living passion.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's like I said, this is hard, though it was a hard episode to watch. It's definitely pivotal and important to what's going to happen next. This is important. This is about to blow up.
They've
and
slammed
it's going to be
on every episode
insane.
that has been released so far.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, with Poe looking at Kirito right before the credits and saying it's showtime, you know that he is just going to start whooping the shit out of him right in front of Asuna, watching him making her suffer, payback for all that shit. And it makes me wonder if like you were talking about, this is building up to the moment where he snaps to it and comes back. If you look at the opening animations, you do see Kirito, Asuna, and Alice all together.
At the very end, like walking through a door.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder that if Kirito is being whooped shitless by Poe in this upcoming episode or the episode after, does Alice, like we suggested last week, show up having said, nope, I'm not going down there, I'm going to go check on the people who saved me, and she intervenes? Or do we see a situation where he has those instinct reactions kick in?
And we still also have one more character character that has not shown their face as of yet. Remember the
Mystery
recruitment?
girl. The mystery girl at the end of the recruitment.
Mm-hmm. And the little fairy that's with her, because that fairy does not, even though we don't see her face, does not match Yui's attire.
No.
There's a lot of unknowns and there's a lot of things that could happen.
So next week's episode is the Prince of Hell.
I have a feeling that's going to be a big Shunon fight, and
And God, I hope so,
Oh my
because
God,
I hope
it's
so.
time.
It'll be
Yes.
It's time.
amazing.
we're due for a big fight scene, and definitely the way
Yeah.
things went down with Shunon in this episode.
It's building up to it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hopefully this will be, because this episode felt we got a lot of information, there was a lot going on, but it felt there was a part of you like it felt dwindled.
Give me that fight. Give me
Yeah,
that.
you need that
That's
fight.
you
You need that very satisfying, battle royale.
they
And
set it
long
up, and then
because we're 4 episodes in with information after information after information, and there has not been one massive fight scene as of yet. Well,
And
Not
I'm gonna
since
be
the
honest, I
Foley.
want Sinon to take him out. I do not
Yes.
want Kirito to take him out. There's something in me that wants Sinon
she
Yeah.
to take
deserves
him
it.
out.
She deserves to
That
take him
is a
out.
fight that, in my opinion, would end up being a Shunon defeating him fight. Because with the type of history and the situation that she has with him, it would be wrong for Kirito to take that win.
She's already had the Kirito moment during this situation with the emblem of protection.
Hmm.
And that snapped her back to reality and made her realize this sick son of a bitch needs to die.
I'm strong enough to do this, and I'm gonna do it. And she pretty much, when she was talking, and she demoralized him and made the realization that you're just a human like me. You're not anything that's gonna scare me. I'm not afraid of you. I'm not as scared of you as you think I should be, because
Mhm.
you're not that scary. So she brought him back down to her level, and I feel like she's gonna whoop his ass. And this is gonna be
Mhm.
very satisfying.
But
So,
I'm also afraid it's going to be very unsatisfying because we've already seen him defeated and relogged once.
and come back.
What's to keep it from happening
Mm.
again?
And he could be defeated and he might come back again, but at least that's one less avatar. There comes a point you run out of
If the
people
theory of him having more than one avatar is
is
true.
correct.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to wait and see about that one.
We're going to wrap it up there since there's been so much detail and information been put out today. And definitely with this episode, before we close out, I have a little plug for a new partner of ours, and the one that actually did the art for us this week, Season Fall Girl, over on Twitch.
Woo!
She
Woo!
does art every month. She does a commission for a $60 commission. If you become a subscriber over there, just show her some support. And this is Rainwolf.
This is Kirito Silverheart.
This is Asuna Silverheart.
And this is Lyria Highwind.
Leave a like, comment, and even subscribe, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.